A portal opened in my house, and an alien woman stepped out. I couldn't understand why she came. It was an ordinary evening. I had just settled down on the couch with a steaming cup of tea, ready to binge-watch my favorite series. That's when it happened. A faint humming sound filled the room, growing louder and more intense. My tea trembled on the table. In the center of the living room, a swirling vortex of light and energy materialized out of nowhere. Before I could even comprehend what was happening, she stepped out. She was tall, impossibly tall, her elongated frame wrapped in a shimmering, iridescent suit that seemed to pulse with its own light. Her skin had a faint blue hue, and her eyes, large and almond-shaped, glowed softly like moonlight. She tilted her head, studying me with an expression that was both curious and unreadable. I froze. Was this a dream? Some bizarre hallucination? My mind raced, trying to make sense of the impossible sight before me. She spoke, but not with words. A melodic hum filled my mind, layered with sensations, warmth, urgency, and something that felt like sorrow. It was as though her thoughts were directly pouring into my consciousness. Despite the lack of words, I understood one thing clearly. She was asking for help. I don't understand, I stammered aloud, unsure if she could even hear me. She raised a delicate, six-fingered hand, and suddenly, images flooded my mind. A dying planet, collapsing under its own weight. Sky-high flames, churning oceans, and her people, desperate and afraid. You want me to help? I asked, my voice trembling. She nodded slowly. The portal behind her flickered, its energy dimming. She glanced at it, then back at me, her luminous eyes filled with urgency. Before I could say anything else, she reached out and touched my forehead. A jolt of energy surged through me, and everything went dark. When I woke up, I was no longer in my living room. I was standing on a barren plain under a greenish sky. The air felt heavy, the ground beneath me cracked and lifeless. Around me stood others, humans like me, all looking equally bewildered. In the distance, towering structures, half-built, half-destroyed, loomed like ancient monuments. The alien woman appeared before us, her form shimmering in and out of focus. This time, her thoughts came clearer. You have been chosen. Your world is on the brink, just as mine was. If you help us rebuild, you may yet save your own. I didn't know how to respond. Chosen? Save my world? I wasn't a hero, not even close. I was just an ordinary person. But there was no time to protest. She gestured toward the horizon where figures, alien and human alike, were working together to restore what had been lost. Reluctantly, I joined them. Days turned into weeks, and I learned. I learned about their technology, their culture, their mistakes, and their hope. And in the process, I found a part of myself I didn't know existed. The work was grueling, the challenges immense, but together we began to breathe life into their dying world. One day, as the first green shoots broke through the cracked soil, the alien woman came to me. Her eyes glowed brighter, her presence calmer. Your world's turn is coming, she said through the melody in my mind. What you learn here will decide its fate. And just like that, the portal opened again, pulling me back into my living room. The tea on the table was cold, and the clock hadn't moved a single second. It was as though no time had passed at all. But everything had changed. I had changed. The knowledge they'd shared burned in my mind, and I knew what I had to do. The question wasn't why she came anymore. It was whether I could rise to the challenge she had set before me.